TooManyGames, Oaks, Pennsylvania, or Phoenixville? What's the difference between the two?
I think they're
different
part,
counties.
I think it's part of a certain township or something.
I like how people are actually trying to explain it to me, like, oh, yeah, well, back in 1847, Phoenixville was on this side. Well, we're just having some technical difficulties to set up the laptop right now, because I want to show you guys a new video.
No problem.
Ooh.
So welcome, this is the Flat Punk Creation. Who's not familiar with me here in the audience? For those 4 people, 5, 6, 7, no one knows who I am. My name is Pat Contry. I've been on YouTube since 8 years as of yesterday, June 24th, 2008. I do Pat I have so many more gray hairs than I used to have. And I have a beard, so I'm making up for the loss of hair with growing up my face. No. So I do a show called Pat the NES Punk. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
Free market madness. One of the first, not the first, video game hunting videos ever on the web. Yes, I will take credit for that. I also do this podcast that's completely unnecessary with Ian Ferguson. What else do I do? Oh, Ask Frank. Come on, let's give it up for Frank. He's going to known as Frank, who actually at this point is in Sequoia National Forest in California, with the redwoods around him. Hopefully not getting eaten by bears, so hopefully you'll see Frank again. And yeah, so basically what's been going on in my life, this is our time now, this is our private time to talk. What's been going on in past world? I've been doing this book the past 3 years that's finally coming out. It's an Ultimate Nintendo Guide to the NES Library. So, yes! Thank you! Thank you! You made it all worth it, the thousands of hours. So it's shipping in August. People in Asia might get it, and Europe actually might get it before people in the US. I can't control that, just how the logistics works out. But digital version's available, and I thought I'd be able to show you some pages from the book, but that's okay. But I can show you a video once we get that set up. So before we get that set up, while we're waiting, I can do a Q&A. So usually in my panels, there's like 3 parts to it. It's like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So part 1 is usually I show up, release the video, then we do a Q&A, then we do the world famous Play the Punk Challenge, where you guys play for fantastic cash and prizes, minus the cash and minus the fantastic. Usually when that works, I used to play, I'll be honest, I used to play you guys suck at video games compared to me, just in general, when it comes to NES. So I win 95% of the time, so what I did was change it that you guys play each other, it's more fun, it's more fair, and then you both win the prize, it gives more people a chance to play. So that'll happen near the end of the panel. So if you win those challenges at the end of the panel, it gives you a free digital download code for the book. If you lose, you'll get a Super Nintendo game that I was not able to sell at the booth for good reason. So that's what's at stake there. So we'll start with the Q&A, I guess. You guys kind of just raise your hands, and I'll try to do it because I don't think there's a microphone set up for Q&A. I'll see if I can hear you. Yes, you, sir, at the end of the row.
Oh, me?
Yes, you.
Oh. All right. So, how did you meet Frank? Because he seems like a pretty different guy than you, since he's into like comics and you're into gaming.
How did I meet Frank? Since you said he's a pretty different guy than me, is that what he is?
Yeah.
Well,
no offense
always
to
ask
Frank.
this.
No offense to him, but he's.
I'd like to make a video explaining how I met him, because the reality isn't interesting, and I feel at this point it's been built up so much it'd be a letdown. So I want to massage the truth a little bit, just a little bit,
All right.
and create a little story out of it. Maybe is that acceptable? Would
Sure.
you rather see it in video form? I know you're gonna run to my Wikipedia page that doesn't exist as soon as you find out and type it in what Frank's relationship is, but we'll see what happens with that. So we'll hold off for a little bit because every convention I get asked that. All right, next question. You, sir.
Do you ever worry about not recouping what you invested in terms of your collection, like the NWC?
The question is, am I ever worried I will not recoup the investment I put into my video game collection? No, because I don't care about the value as much as a lot of other people do. Because to me, it's not about just the value. If it was about the value, I would have spent the money to begin with. Let's be honest. Because when you're going to invest in something, games that came out 25, 30 years ago isn't probably the best way to make money. So I would say if you're gonna collect games, do it for the right reason, do it for preservation, because you love the games, historical value, not to make money. That's like the fifth option when you realize you spend way too much money. Let's see if I can get it back to pay my mortgage or pay for my, baby's, Gerber food. I mean, investment, I don't like that word with video games because that ruins the fun, I think. Because then it comes first about, well, how much is the game worth versus what's the game about? Who developed the game? What genre is the game is? Is it a sequel in a series? Did it inspire other games? That to me is always more interesting. The history behind the games is a lot more interesting than how much money can you make off it. So, yes, sir.
You've mentioned a bunch of times in your podcast how you really, really hate stadium events, and that I think you called it in your book, compared it to like an empty can of Drano. It's like how much you value it.
I value it as much as an empty bottle of Drano. Yes, I said that in the book.
Is there like a price you would ever put to like actually get one to complete your licensed collection, or you just have no interest in ever getting one ever?
Okay, let's set the record straight. I do not hate the game stave events. I hate what it represents for collecting in terms of it being the game that's only valued because of its rarity, and that's it. The story is not that interesting about it. It's a game that already exists on the console in $2 form and world-class track meet. The peripheral that you use it with stinks. So I mean, it's like it's not interesting enough. Like even if it wasn't available as another game in the system, I still don't think it'd be that interesting. But is there a price I would pay for statements? Oh yeah, there's a price. It's not anywhere near the quote-unquote going rate. It's more principle than anything else. I just don't want to drop that money on something I'm like, dude, I'm never gonna play it. I'm never gonna look at it just to say, oh, I have the complete license set. I'm insane enough to spend money on some games, but not on that. That's where my line is. I guess you always have that line where, no, I'm not gonna do it. So.
Thank you.
Another question? How about you, sir?
Who would win in a fight, Ian or Frank?
Who would win in a fight, Ian or Frank? Let's hear it. Would Ian win in a fight? By applause. Okay, that's very generous. Would Frank win in a fight? I think Frank is the definition of old man strength. Remember, he does landscaping work. He rips tree stumps out of the ground with his bare hands. He shovels rocks and dirt just for fun. No, Frank would kill anyone in this room. At the same time, perhaps. He looks nice. Remember, he's Italian. He has that side where he can go nuts. All right, next question. You, sir.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, so the current state of the announced Nintendo NX. Do you think the ratio of what I believe Nintendo is saying about, graphics aren't as being sufficient as the gameplay and the characters so far, do you think Nintendo is going to thrive with the NX, or do you think it's going to be, hopefully, God forbid, kind of another Sega situation where the graphics, if they don't pay attention to the graphics as much as the gameplay? I don't know. Where do you think things are going with that? And do you think the NX will succeed?
Okay, I'll try to condense that down. Basically, where do you think the NX will end up being in the market?
Do you think they are actually are going to thrive with that, or whatnot?
I think this was going to happen with the NX. If they get, it all depends on the third-party support.
Okay.
Because when I predicted the Wii U coming out, I said this is going to be great. They're going to have third-party support. You'll be able to have the next GTA game on here, and the first-party Nintendo games. Of course, that didn't happen because there's no third-party support. You had Ubisoft for a little bit, and really, that was really it, right? Was there any other third-party support in the Wii U that was significant? Really? Not exactly. So, if it comes out, supposedly it's going to be very easy to port the games over to the NX, and the NX is supposed to be as powerful, at least, as the Xbox One. Well, the version of the Xbox One out now, not the Scorpio. I think the NX will do well. It has to do better than the Wii U, right? So then you're going to get to a point where you'll have at least 3 good years, I think, of third-party support, at least, where it'll be just as powerful as the Xbox One. And the Xbox One's only been out for 3 years, so it'll still be an out-life cycle. So you'll have all the third-party games on the Xbox One and PS4, in theory, should be on the NX, in theory. So you'll get that, plus you'll get the first-party titles. I'm going to buy one. You guys are looking to get one? You're gonna wait and see. Some Grim Reaper's gonna get one. That's gonna be. I think it'll do all right. Nintendo will never become like I think Sony and Microsoft having now these iterations of consoles. I think you're always gonna have a big Nintendo console every like 5-6 years.
New 3DS.
For a while. What's that?
New 3DS, DSi.
New 3DS. Well, the rumor is that the NX is going to combine handhelds.
No, but I'm saying for like different versions, like they did with DSi and the new 3DS compared
Well, that
to the
doesn't count.
3DS.
Handhelds don't count. That's always a weird market. Nintendo's the only market that counts for handhelds. Right. We'll do a few more questions and we'll show you. You, sir.
Yeah, like what would you consider the best series that you ever made?
The best series I ever made?
Yeah.
Or best video I ever made?
Yeah, best video you ever made. Like, completely unnecessary podcast.
The favorite podcast I ever did?
Yeah.
Well, you mean segment from it? Okay, what was the funniest thing? We love talking about the scalper who tried scalping the tickets for the interview. Remember that? Christmas a couple of years ago? We tore into him. Oh my God, we tore into him. I think honestly, our coverage before it was the Chameleon, our retro VGS coverage, before all the bullshit with the faking consoles, when it was actually still semi-legit, we were covering that, and I think we were critical of, but we were fair, way up front. We're talking like a year ago, and I was proud of that because it was before all this bullshit came out. We kept it pretty objective at the time. So this is why I don't think it's a good idea. We don't think there's a need for a cartridge system on the market in modern times. This is an Ouya with a cartridge slot. I'm proud of that because I think we ended up being correct. Not that it counts in the long run to be correct or right all the time, but I think it showed we had pretty good judgment on the situation before it became a Coleco bullshit thing. We'll do a couple more questions, then we'll do the video. Yes, you, with the wrist gauntlet.
So how did you know when you were ready to let go of your day job and
I like
do what
the
you're
air quoted
doing?
day job. It was a day job. So the question
How do
is,
you know when you were ready to let go of that and do what you're doing now?
how did I know I was ready to let go of my day job? Because I was sick of it. I mean, it was like, yes, it was one of those things where I could have continued to do it and made a decent amount of money versus what I was making at the time on YouTube, which was nothing. But I figured I don't want to be like roll into my 40s and 50s and still be miserable and realize that I didn't even try to do something else. I didn't want to, because even if I failed, I could have went back and did something similar. So why not try it and put my energy towards something that I actually thought was more fun and something that wouldn't kill me. Like I remember going to the doctors, my blood pressure was high. I remember eating, this was before the podcast, so I quit my job in like the summer of 2012. And I remember Ian telling me for months, like, yeah, your face looks like it's gray, there's no color in it anymore. It's like, oh, that must be my 55-hour-a-week job that's killing me. It must be, because, you know, I thought I was in decent shape. But no, I was just like, I was a shell of myself. So this is his general life advice. I mean, it's not like you can just do anything you want, have fun, and make money on it. But if you are truly miserable, there should always be another option out there to pursue. There has to be. Talk to people. Talk to someone who can counsel you, give you advice about what are my other options in this situation. Not just jobs, like your life in itself, your relationship status, what you're going through. There's always another option out there to try. I think. Oh, wow. On that weird note, I have a new video. By the way, did you guys like my NES Punk Batman v Superman?
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a part 2 of that. I don't have that today. There's going to be a part 2. Maybe Storm shows up in that again. The lovely Storm. What's with me and women in leather in my videos? I don't know. Might be a fetish. I don't know. But we have a video to show. Yes. It is a new Flea Market Madness. It's been a while. I know. I blame the book. This is an early cut. It's not fun. Oh. We only need No, that was the only time I ever found a Neo Geo AES at a flea market. It was pretty insane. Did you see the Neo Geo, what are those Neo Geo X ones that came out a few years ago with the built-in games? But who wants that? The original, right? And Derek was cool, gave me a great deal on it. It only cost me like $15 for the AC adapter. The AV cable is the same as the Genesis, and then the joysticks are like, I don't know, 40 or 50 each. So then I got for like basically $220, you know, a set that would cost you on eBay $550, $600 or so. So we combine all the joysticks and everything. So I did all right, right? So is that all right? Was that decent? You haven't gotten the 300 sticks in a while, I know. All right, we can do the NES sticks. We'll do a couple more questions, a few more questions, then we'll do the Play the Punk challenge. You serve the hat.
Yes. Okay, you made a blurb about Fire Pro Wrestling in your recent podcast. I want to know, what's your favorite Fire Pro game?
Okay, the question is about Fire Pro Wrestling. Anyone familiar with the series here? Like, a handful of people. It's the best wrestling game series ever. It was in Japan. It was the first to do, create a wrestler, and fully customizable. Probably the deepest gameplay of any wrestling game ever, for the most part. And favorite one, I had 6-Man Scramble on Saturn. I had a edited hack ROM, Premium X on Super Famicom, which was good. But Fire Pro G was good on PlayStation. I have not played Returns yet on PS2. Is that a pretty good one?
It's worth it.
It's worth it? It's like a $10 game only.
Yeah, especially you can download like characters online from like recent federations.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Really cool. So yeah, if I had to say though, I think Fire Pro G had a lot of stuff in it. I didn't play the Dreamcast version, so. All right, more questions? Hey.
My question is about resellers, like how can you tell? Because me and my friend.
How can you tell what a reseller is? What is like the lizard people in B?
No, because I mean more like is it based off eBay prices and stuff? Because a friend and I were walking back and she got the echo cooler from one of the people, and then we see a table with 2 of them, and she's like, "Oh, go get it." And I said, "Well, how much?" It's $5. They said, "How much did you get it?" $2. I said, "That's a reseller." No, let's keep on.
Okay, well, when it's new products, that's a scalper. That's a different term. When it's new products that are still available, commercially available, and you're trying to control the market, and doing an outrageous upcharge. What is a little ecto cooler box would it cost normally? 50 cents?
Probably, but it was a can. There was
Oh, it was a can.
It was a can and a surge.
So I heard that like the new ecto cooler in the can you can only get like on Amazon Prime or something, and then so people are buying them, putting them on eBay at like for $100 for like a 6-pack or something. Ridiculous. Yeah, that's just scalping. That's disgusting.
Yeah, so like how can you tell? Like,
How can I tell if someone's being disgusting? You just feel it. You just feel it. Does this seem really unreasonable? All right, couple more questions. All the way in the back. Sir, you're standing. Yes. Is there anything I do to keep my voice in shape? It does crunches. It's actually going down just because I have to scream over the music here and talk to you guys, by the way, I'll be out in my booth afterwards if you guys want to say hi. No, I should look into that. Because I do a lot of podcast stuff, and the podcast might go weekly in the future as a possibility. But no, I should look into that. I should be smarter.
I have some tips. I'll send you a message.
No, thank you. Lemon, honey, waffles, is that traditional method? I'm just hungry. Oh. Not talking? Are you saying I shouldn't be talking this? He said, why don't you just not talk? Okay. With that said, we're going to do the Play the Punk challenge. Let's ready to go. I'll need 2 volunteers. All right. Do you miss? You're looking very lovely. Yeah, come on up. And Batman shirt. Yeah, this is handy. All right, so Come on up, guys.
Visual download.
What are your names?
I'm on my phone right now.
Jen, step over here. See if we can stay out late. The sheriff is here when we play. Maybe over here. What's your name?
Ben.
Ben, come on over here. All right, so this is gonna be rough.